it's Luke, bringing you a preview for this weekend's UFC card between Edson Barboza and Giga Chikadze in the main event. We have a card full of a lot of interesting fights, some UFC newcomers, some absolute veterans, and a lot of banger fights as well between some brawlers. So a lot of exciting fights to come, and of course plenty of Draftkings contests to try and take down as well. In this video, we're going to be covering my top 6 fighters to target for this weekend's card. The guys I think that have the highest potential to go out, potentially get a knockout or submission, or even put up a lot of points in a decision victory. These are going to be picks for GPP contests, high risk, high reward plays that can help you beat 50,000 to 200,000 other people. But with all that being said, let's hop into the top 6 picks for this weekend's card. So kicking off our picks, at number 6 we have Petroski. He's a 5-2 record in MMA, so relative newcomer to the sport. This will be his first time ever inside the UFC octagon. He gets another UFC newcomer on the other side, Michelle Gilmore, and he's a -500 favorite over Gilmore. As a result, he comes in as the second highest priced fighter on the entire slate. But aside from being a newcomer, there's really a lot to like about Andre. So he's somebody who has a lot of knockouts on his record. Again, a lot of those in the regional scene, a few bigger promotions of late where he's still been very effective. And on the other side, you have Gilmore, who's little to no track record. His only big-time wins have come against little to no competition, people that have 0 wins on their record, that kind of stuff. So with Petroski, we have a well-known knockout artist, someone we've seen on bigger promotions before the UFC. And on the other side, a guy that really hasn't proven himself at all. So I like Petroski by KO. Obviously, the Vegas lines really like him as well at -500, and he comes in at number 6. For our number 5 pick, we have Sam Alvey, a huge UFC veteran, someone who's been around for a very long time, fighting against Wellington Thurman, and he's actually a +110 underdog, which to me is very surprising. As a result, we get him at just $7,800 on DraftKings, and honestly, the line in this fight just doesn't make sense to me. I believe it should be about -110 Alvey, maybe even -150 Alvey. I think he has a distinct advantage on the feet, also if he decides to take it to the ground. If we take a look at Thurman, he's coming off 2 straight losses, all by KO. While Alvey's getting up there in age, he doesn't have quite as much explosiveness as he used to have. He still finishes 59% of his fights by KO, so I expect him to put on a solid performance. If he doesn't get a win this time out, Sam Alvey, he's obviously coming off a few losses. It could be his end of his UFC reign, so I expect him to go out, save his career, and really leave it all on the table. At number 4, we have Bryan Battle. He comes in at 6-1 MMA record. Somebody who's also a first-time UFC fighter, fighting against Gilbert Urbina. He's just a -160 favorite, but just like Petroski, I think he should be closer to a -300 or -400 favorite. Battle actually fought Petroski their last time out, ended up submitting Petroski, so you'd like to see that. Again, that was one of their bigger ticket fights on that kind of card, so obviously there was a lot of potential. People saw that talent level in him, and he came out and showed that submission ability. It is his UFC debut, so there's a little bit of unknown behind the guy, but with Urbina, you get that just as well. The bad thing about Urbina, he's more of a decision fighter. We haven't seen that much explosiveness out of him. So we're going to take a side in this fight. You definitely want the Battle side. And obviously Petroski is a very good up-and-coming prospect. Still got a UFC contract even though he lost the Battle. So that should tell you just how much they think of Battle and obviously how much they still think of Petroski. At number 3, we have Edson Barboza, a 22-9 career record. This guy's been around forever. Almost all of his fights have been in the UFC. He's fighting in the headliner fight against Giga Chikadze. He's a -125 favorite, only $8,200 on DraftKings, and if he goes out and wins this fight, you're going to absolutely have to have him in your lineups. He's a 59% KO rate for his career, which is excellent. Chikadze hasn't really had his chin tested, so perhaps Barboza could knock him out, but I do expect it to go 5 rounds. So in a 5-round affair, we're going to have plenty of scoring opportunity on both sides. On the Barboza side, he lands over 4 significant strikes per minute, and in a 5-round affair over 25 minutes, that's well over 100 significant strikes. He also is able to mix in wrestling. We've seen him do it from time to time, but on the Chikadze side, we haven't seen that whatsoever. So I like Edson's volume. I think he's going to put out a lot more volume than someone like Chikadze. We haven't seen Chikadze in anywhere close to a 5-round fight before. He looked to tire in his last 3-round affair. So I really like Edson's volume. I like his cardio. I also like the experience factor here. And of course, if it goes the full 5 rounds, it's going to be a high-scoring affair. And if it ends sooner and Barboza gets a finish, you're also going to need him as well. So that's why he comes in as my number 3 pick for this weekend's card. And number 2, we have Alessio Di Chirico, 13-5 career record, fighting against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. He is a minus 230 favorite, $8,900, so a little bit more expensive than you would maybe expect for somebody who's just a minus 230 favorite. But this fight's going to be a banger. You have 2 absolute brawlers on each side. And the last time out, Chirico was able to go out, be clinical with his striking, and absolutely hand it to Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley, one of the biggest up-and-coming prospects in the entire division. Obviously, Abdul Razak Al Hassan used to be one of those kind of prospects, but he's lost 3 fights in a row. So I'm taking the guy with all the momentum in Chirico, somebody who's shown a ton of power. I mean, I don't think anyone thought Joaquin Buckley was going to lose that fight, let alone get knocked out in the first round. So obviously, Alessio has a little bit more power than people are giving him credit for. And in this matchup against Al Hassan, I really like the potential for a knockout. And at number 1, we have by far the best play on the entire slate, somebody I'm locking into every DFS lineup I have this week. It is Mahkmud Muradov. He is a 25-6 record in MMA. Fighting against, and this is the key with this fighter, Gerald Meerschaert. He's a minus 575 favorite, $9,300, the most expensive guy. I'm not worrying about that. As I said, he's a lock because you get a ton of power with Muradov, and you have an absolute glass chin with Gerald Meerschaert. Last time out against Fabinski, was able to get a first-round finish, shot a takedown, was able to catch him in a submission really quickly. I don't count on that happening against someone as experienced as Muradov. Not only was that his only win out of his last 4 fights, Meerschaert was flash KO'd in his 2 fights before that. They were by much lesser competition, people with much less power. Far from knockout artists, and went out and flash KO'd him. Muradov has legit power. If he hits him once or twice squarely, he can knock him out cold again. So I really like the chances for a first-minute knockout. Obviously, you get a 30-point bonus for that, but at the very least, I do see him winning by a KO or TKO at some point during the bout. That's all I've got for this week's UFC preview. Let me know in the comments who your favorite fighter to target is for a free chance at my Patreon projections. On there, you'll find projections for all the UFC fighters in every card going forward. So make sure to leave a comment so when that drops next week, you can be one of the first to gain entry to those projections. Of course, if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out with growing the channel, and it also let me know that you guys enjoyed the content. So make sure to do that. I really appreciate it. And good luck with your lineups. Let me know any questions you guys have about fighters in the comments. Maybe somebody I didn't touch on in this video. I'm glad to answer that for you. See you guys next time.